All right. Abnormal psychology. Abnormal psychology is a branch of psychology. Please, if you are psychologist, let me see your hand, please. Yeah, guys, you know what? Let me see your hand. Tell me what I am. Psychologist, let me see your hand now. All right, let's go. Now, moving on. I want to focus the movement. Okay, it's the what? Sorry, the branch of psychology that this with the study.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How have been our day so far?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, so today we are starting data science stream of things. So basically, how many of us have ever written any programming language before? Like probably you've coded in MATLAB, Python, R, Java, and whichever programming language before. Anybody? Anybody? So nobody has ever coded anything before. There's someone on this call that I know has coded MATLAB in my presence before. So confess now. Who are now? Who has coded anything before? Okay, I've interacted with Python. Okay. DSN AI Plus 2020. Wow, this person already part of DSN. You are going to be one of our teachers, so Miss Babalola Ayomide. Okay, let's get to it then, since nobody is saying anything. So today we are going to do more of a crash. Of course, Python should take us some time to learn. We'll try as much as possible to finish Python programming this week. So it will be a crash course, not like an elaborate thing like that. So one of the first things we'll do is we are going to download Anaconda. So I'll share my screen now so that we can all see what. Let me share my screen, the entire screen. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right? So now we are just go to Google and Google Anaconda download. So please follow me. So you go to Anaconda's go to download latest distribution. Sorry, download latest version. Actually, I have Anaconda installed on my system, so I'm supposed to have told you guys to download it beforehand, actually, because it's actually quite an heavy file. So just press this button, depending on whichever framework you are on. You can change to this for my PC, so you can download for your Mac or your Linux system. So just press this button and download. It should be around 500 and something megabytes. So you can download for Mac here, depending on your operating system. How many of us are downloading right now? Or how many of us already have Anaconda installed on our systems? Is there anybody here that has Anaconda installed on his or her system? Hello. This will fight too.
I'm hearing you, sir. We are hearing you all.
Yes, I get. I'm asking a question. Nobody's responding.
Yeah, I don't have. No, I don't have.
Please download it now.
You say what?
I said, how many of us have Anaconda installed on our systems? Okay. Ibukun Ogunjimi said she has already. Okay. Read one. Jimon says he has already too. Sorry, everybody. I need to greet my senior colleague here. Welcome, ma. I greet you, ma. The person I'm referring to already knows herself. Don't worry about who I'm referring to. Just have to respect my senior colleague before they send me out of the department. Okay, moving on from there. So if you have Anaconda installed on your system already, you can open Anaconda. But then I'm not going to use Anaconda completely here, but let me open Anaconda first so we can see. So Anaconda, in fact, I've never opened Anaconda on my system before. So it's showing me okay, Anaconda Navigator. That's what you are going to open. So open Anaconda Navigator. So it will take some time to open. And for those people that are still downloading, please keep on downloading, and while it's downloading, listen to what I'm saying so that you won't miss out on anything. So I'm opening Anaconda right now. But I will show us another way of opening things rather than having to open Anaconda, because Anaconda takes some time to open. Because actually quite a very big library that has a lot of frameworks within it that we use. So I'm still opening Anaconda right now. It takes some time to open actually. But pending then, let me just say some things about programming. Actually, programming is not, okay, don't let me say it's easy. It's not beans, but it's quite easy because everything you need to do is already online. It's just for you to be able to know, okay, this is what I need and this is how to search for it. So whichever problem you are facing, you can always Google it. So Google how to code, how to do anything, whichever error you run into, copy the error code and paste on Google. Google will automatically give you a link to where you can get it. So make Stack Overflow, Google, or Bing, or any search engine you know, your friend, to search for any problem you are having at any point in time. So please let me just take a simple random sampling in this class. I want to know what you do for a living right now. So I'll see how the population of people we have in this class. So I'll know how to cite examples and the likes. So Enido Footwear. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this well. So like mistakenly pronounce your name anyhow. Sorry. Enido Footwears. Can we have you? What do you do for a living? Enido Footwear is not responding. Okay. Babalola Ayomide said she's an undergrad. Wow, that's nice. Then can we have Ari Oyewale? Okay, as a contact business analyst for an entrepreneur. Wow, that's actually very nice. Ari Oyewale is an undergraduate too. That's very nice. What of K Lasisi?
Yeah, I know. I'm an administrator in a school.
Okay, that's really nice. What of Latifa?
Did you get that?
I get it. Thank you. What about Latifa? Okay, with our undergraduates, can we get what do I say now? Can we get what you are studying, like your course of study? Maybe you are in economics department, mathematics department, statistics department, biography, statistics. Wow. What school, Babalola Ayomide? Let me guess OAU, but I'm not sure yet. But let me confirm first. Ekiti State University. Oh, I wrote the apostille, so I actually passed the apostrophe then when I wrote it. You just came my way and I had to go. Ario Iwale Industrial Engineering. Wow, maximum respect. So I believe my Anaconda is open by now. Yes, it's opened. So this what your Anaconda will look like when you install it on your system. And what we'll be majorly using in this class is Jupyter Notebook. Actually, Jupyter Labs does almost the same thing. University of Ibadan, Industrial Engineering. Wow, maximum respect. So now Jupyter Notebook is what we are going to be using in this class. But then I want to show you another way of opening it instead of having to open Anaconda. You know, see how long it took us to open Anaconda, then going back to go and launch Jupyter Notebook now. But normally, you can just search for Jupyter Notebook. That's Jupyter. You can see it's there, my system. I've actually pinned it to my taskbar here. So normally I would just have clicked this place, but I needed to show you guys how to open it. So just click on Jupyter Notebook here now. So you can easily close your Anaconda Navigator here. Yes. So now my Jupyter Notebook is open here. So you can see the prompt here. So don't close this prompt, I beg. If you close this prompt, it means you've closed that kernel. So don't close this prompt for any reason until you are done with whatever you are doing. So this will show you all the folders you have on your system. So here are my folders. But here now I'm going to documents, because what I want to do is in documents, then in Fibitech, then Python data science, then Python crash course. So here is where I'm going to start the class today. But then you can create a new notebook by clicking on this new tab here. Let me just minimize this. By clicking on this, so you pick Python 3. Your own will not have R yet, except you go to Jupyter Labs now and install R. What you are doing in this class is Python, so you don't necessarily need to do that. So you click on Python 3. So it will give you IPY kernel. So when you click on Python 3, you have a new notebook in front of you. So how many of us are on a screen like this right now? How many of us are on a screen like this right now? How do you get here? It's just what I did. Have you installed Anaconda on your system? Queen Chikeze. Queen Chikeze, do you have Anaconda installed on your system? Okay, yes, I have Anaconda on my system. Okay, go to your okay, but no data. No, you don't get what I'm saying. Just open something like this. Like when you open your Anaconda and it opens this place, navigate to probably your document or something, and then create a new file by clicking this new and clicking Python 3. So I'm waiting for you, Queen. Oh, Uzuma Queen Chikeze. When you achieve this, let me know, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good afternoon. Sorry. Okay, I have how do I put it now? I have the Anaconda app, but right now I'm feeling like I'm confused. Like I can't place if I'm the right thing. I'm seeing different things come out of my system after downloading Anaconda Navigator, Spider, Anaconda PowerShell.
No, what you want to open is
Jupyter Notebook.
Jupyter Notebook is what you want to open.
Okay, I've opened Jupyter Notebook now.
So when you open Jupyter Notebook, it will show you like the folders on your system.
Yes.
Then wherever you want to work at, probably document or desktop, click on that place. Then you now come and click on new. Where I click on new there.
Yes.
Then when you click on new, you pick Python 3. So we open something like this for you.
Okay, I've seen but I'm coming. Let me try just like new. Okay. I don't know what's happening. I'm currently on my browser, localhost 888, but I've not gotten to where you are now. I've gotten to the last step before where you are now. I don't know.
No, you are here, right? You are in a place like this, right?
Yes, I've seen upload. It has opened
beside
all the folders in my.
Click on new.
Yes, I've clicked on new. I'm
Then you
seeing
have something
text
like
file.
Python 3.
No. What I'm seeing is text file, folder, terminal.
Those are the only things you have there.
Yes, yes.
Do you have Spider on your system? Try and open Spider. Or better still, go to your open CMD. Click on Windows and then press CMD.
Windows, CMD. Okay.
So you see command prompt. Open command prompt.
Yes, I've seen it. Command
Type
prompt.
Python.
Okay.
Is it showing you anything?
I've opened command prompt, but it's not allowing me to type. Okay, I think it's beeping now. Python. Python, enter.
Yes. What is it showing you?
It's just blinking.
No, it will show
think
Python 3 point something, then it will give you like 3 less than, then start blinking.
It didn't give me anything like that too.
I
I just typed Python and I pressed enter. I hope that was the right thing to do.
Yes, that was the right thing to do.
Okay, so when I did that, it took me to my, it took me to my Microsoft store. There's no Python on my system. I think that's why it's not seeing it.
That's the problem.
I need to
Reinstall
put
your
in
Anaconda,
Python.
then add Anaconda to your path. There's a place where it will show you the option of adding Anaconda to your path. I mean, Python to your path. So add it to your path. Or better still, go and download Python and install.
Yes, let me do that. Let me do that now. I'm doing that now.
Okay.
Thank you.
While she's doing that, let's continue. So let's continue. So I've created a new file here. How many of us have this new file open on our system now? How many of us have this file? Are you on a spot like this here? Someone is clapping. Babalola Yomide. Okay. Ari Oye Wale said yes.
So when you look at it, and then
okay, I'll just believe everybody is on this page, on the same page with me. So here is where you change the title of your file here. So you have untitled here. So I'll call it Python Crash Course Class 1. So once I press rename now, you see the untitled change to this. Are we all here? Are we all on the same page? Please, I want this class to be as interactive as possible. When I ask questions, I want to response. So please, are we all here now? Have we been able to change our titles?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So while we are doing that, so I want to show us some basic things here. So we have file here. So you can create a new notebook from here. So you can do that. You can open a notebook that is already on your system. You can make a copy, that is, you just replicate what you already have, save and checkpoints, all these things. So you can download as PDF here. But there's a library you have to install before you can do this. Okay, I get you now. Then you can download as, then edit. These ones, you can cut cell and the likes like that. Can delete cell and the likes. And you can always use the shortcuts that you see here. Then we have view, we have insert. This insert, I use it a lot of times. But then it's the shortcut I use, A and B, to insert a cell above or below. So I come here now and I say A. You click outside this box here. You click somewhere like here. You click A to insert a cell above. If you click B, it will insert a cell below, like that. So coming back here, then we have cells. So you can run cell, select below, run and insert below. So all these things. But then you can always use Shift Enter in place of that. So you can see Shift Enter, Control Enter, and Alt Enter. So moving on from there, we have this kernel restart, that is interrupt. Probably you ran into an infinite loop. You understand what I mean by an infinite loop later. So you can interrupt whatever you're doing. You can restart and clear output. You can restart and run all. You can reconnect and you can shut down. Then we have widgets. So save notebook widget, save, clear notebook widget state, and the likes like that. Then if you need help, whichever help you need here now, can some of the libraries we use: Python reference, IPython reference, NumPy reference. Our class after the first class after Python crash course is actually NumPy. So this NumPy reference, SciPy reference. This SciPy is majorly for writing mathematical algorithms. For people studying mathematics amidst us. The matplotlib reference, pandas reference, and the likes like that. But then you can save here. You can insert cell below here. You can cut cell. So if I cut this cell, you can see that cell disappears. You can copy cell. Then you can go upward or move downward. So if I say this, you can see I move downward. If I do this, I move upward. Then you can run. You can interrupt a kernel. You can restart a kernel. Then restart kernel, then run the whole notebook. Then here is where it gets interesting. This code, we have Markdown, we have raw notebook, then we have heading. But here now, when you are on code, that's when you can run your normal Python codes. So Python -- version. Sorry, shift enter. Python 3. Python is not defined. Oh, sorry, Python 3. Oh, sorry. I'm not supposed to check for my version. I'm supposed to check it inside my command prompt. So let's just do 2 plus 2. Sorry. 2 plus 2. If I run that now, you can see it's giving me 4. So that's telling you we are already running codes here. But then we can change our cell to Markdown. Markdown is something like you want to comment your cell. So here is Markdown now. So Markdown, I can easily type whatever I want. QWERTY. If I run it, it will just be a normal this thing. Then there are some things I want to teach you about Markdown. So let's go to our Python crash course itself actually. So we have a Python crash course notebook here that I've created before and that so as to guide us in this class. So it's taking some time to open, but then I'll wait for it to open. So here is a Markdown here. So you can see when if you've written HTML before, you understand what I mean by H1 to H6. That's header 1 to header 6. So if you add one hash, that's like header 1, that's a big header. Then we add double hash, that's like header 2, that's a smaller header than the header 1, but still big. Then header 3, header 4, header 5, and header 6. Then if you write the normal text, it will look like a normal paragraph. For those who have done HTML, look like normal paragraph tag in HTML. So if we run this, you can see the sizes vary. This one is bigger than this one is bigger than this, and bigger than this, and bigger than this, bigger than this. Then this is a normal paragraph tag. So moving on from there. So this is what I'm using to introduce what we are doing in this class now. So if you notice, if I double click on this, you can see this is my header, Python crash course. Then when I wanted to make a list, I use star. Then when I indented, that's like a sub list of this list. So this data type, then we have all the data types we have. Then we have comparison operators, conditional statement, that's if-else statements, then loops, that's for loop and while loop. Then we have range, we have list comprehension, function, lambda expression, map and filter, then method. So let me just run this. So that's how we have this. You can see the sublist is box and the actual list is circle. So moving on from there, then I started data types here. So let me just clear my kernel. So how many of us are getting it to this point? If you don't get it, please raise up your hand or write something in the comment section, in the chat part. Anybody that's not getting to this point, anybody that's lost or something, before I continue? Anyone? No question is stupid though. Just ask your question so that we can move on. Okay, from the look of things, it seems everybody is getting what I'm explaining. So I'll just move on from there. So we have numbers here. So numbers, we have different types of numbers. We have integers and we have floats. So integers are count numbers, negative count numbers, and 0. While float are numbers with decimal place. So here is 1 plus 1, 1 times 1, 1 divided by 2. Then when you use a star, here is simply mean multiplication. Then we use multiple double star, we mean raised to power. So that's 2 raised to power 4, which is 16. Then 10 modulo 4. 10 modulo 4 will give us 2 because Modulo is actually calculating the remainder. So 10 modulo 4 will give us the remainder after we multiply 10 by 4. So if we change it to 3, it will give us 1. You can see that, but let me change it back to 4. Then 5 modulo 2 will give us what? Anybody? 5 modulo 2 will give us what? Please, let's make this class interesting. Let's make it interactive. 5 modulo 2 will give us what?
1.
Thank you. Give us 1. So moving on from there. Then, how many of us remember board mass when we were in primary school? So that's brackets of, bracket of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. How many of us remember this? If nobody saying anything, what would this give us? 2 minus 3 times 5 plus 5. Anybody? Emmanuel Ogunle is trying to talk, but we are not hearing what you are saying. Anybody? 2 minus 3 multiplied by 5 plus 5. Or are we not seeing my screen well so I can zoom out so we see where? Two minus 3 multiplied by 5 plus 5. What would it give us? Anybody? Any takers?
Minus 18.
18.
Minus 18.
Yeah, minus 18.
Any other response that is different from what they said? Someone is saying minus 8.
No, I said minus 18 too.
Janet is saying minus 8. Any other takers? Any contrary answer apart from minus 18 and minus 8? Someone else saying underscore 8. Any other response? Okay, let's solve it together then before I actually use Python to solve it. So now, if we follow what we have here, the first thing we have to do is what? The first thing we have to do is multiplication. So we have to multiply this. So 3 times 5 will give us what? That's minus 3 times 5 will give us what? To give us 15. Then the next thing we have to do is addition. So minus 3 plus 5. Minus 3 plus 5 will give us minus 10. Then minus 10 plus 2 will give us minus 8. Hence, minus 8. Do we get it? You don't get how I did it now. Raise up your hand. There's actually a function to raise up your hand in what's it called? In Zoom. So raise up your hand if you don't get it. Anybody? If you don't get it, raise up your hand. Okay. Queen is not getting it. Queen, can you tell us exactly what you don't get?
Okay, I think I'm having issues with maybe let's say the functions. I think that's where I'm having issues with. I'm not getting the functions, so it's giving me.
That's why you talk about what flupromazine. You talk about what flupromazine. You talk about SSRI. Sedative.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
I got what you said. I got what you said.
Okay, I think that's where I'm having issues with the functions part. Yeah.
Okay, let me just explain something. You remember when we're in primary school, there's a number that normally carry a sign. So this 3 is one carrying this negative sign.
Okay, yes. That is minus 3. Okay.
Yes. Then
Okay.
this 5 is carrying this 5.
All right.
This
So
is carrying this. So
yeah.
this, since it's what multiplication will first do, so we have to do this together.
Okay. Still following the Bodman's principle, like you mentioned.
Exactly.
All right.
So multiply 5 by minus 3. And it will give us what? Minus 15. Then following then to addition.
Minus 15 plus 5
So,
is minus. Okay, I think
10.
I get it now. Minus 10.
Then plus 2 will give us minus 8.
Yes. Oh, okay.
So that
Okay.
you get it now, Abi?
Yes, I do.
You're going to ask a question.
Maybe because I'm not trying it myself. That's why I'm not getting. This in 7, in 8. I think that's input 7, input 8, right?
Yes, input. We are on input 9 actually.
Oh, okay. So if I'm doing in my system, I should just type this thing exactly the way you type it. 2 minus 3.
Just type this.
Exactly.
5 plus 5. Yes. I'll actually push this notebook to my GitHub repo. Now I'll send the link to the group page so that everybody can easily go there and download. So you have access to this notebook later after the class. And video will always be on YouTube for you to watch in case you want to go back on it.
All right, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Then the thing is, actually, that's not what we wanted to do, because that's what Python will calculate for us. But this is what we wanted. We wanted to add 2 plus 3, then 5 plus, 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3, then 5 plus 5. Want to multiply them together. So 2 minus 3 will give us what? Minus 1. Then 5 plus 5 will give us what? 10. So minus 1 times 10 will give us minus 10. Are we getting it? Where it is safe to always add bracket to everything we have. Queen, can you please raise down your hand? Lower your hand, I mean. Okay, I've lowered it from my end there. So that we'll know the next time anybody raises up his or her hand. That's why I asked that. So moving on from there, then variable assignments. Sorry, yeah, a lot of people that know Yoruba, I would have just given you one Yoruba that says something, but I won't bother saying it any longer. So here, variable assignment, that's where we assign names to our variables. So instead of calling that variable now, you can easily call the name whenever we need it. So there are rules to naming variables in Python actually. So there are basically like 5 rules. But then let me just don't let me Google it so that I won't waste too much time. So to name a variable, you cannot use special characters. What do I mean by special characters? Special characters like and, or, I meant ampersand, division sign, multiplication sign, addition sign, all those special characters. Then you can only start a variable name with either a lowercase or an alphabet. You can't start with a number, but your variable name can have a number within it, but you can't start your variable name with a number. Then what other thing? You can't have space between your variable name. So having said that now, there are 2 ways of naming our variables actually. And another thing that is not a rule per se, but every ineligible person should follow is your variable name should make some sense. So yeah, I forgot Enindo Footwear the other time. He said he does not understand. Please, do you understand now, Enindo Footwear? Not getting a response from him. Okay, he said better. Okay, thank God. So now, what was I saying? I was saying something about variable names. So now, you cannot have space between your variable names. But there are ways. For example, if your variable has more than one distinct, for example, my name is Abbas Olayayo Tunde. How do you name me in Python? So there are multiple ways of adding variable names together. So here is one, we call it snake casing. That is, you separate the variable names with an underscore. Remember, you can't use a minus sign. You can only use an underscore. So you separate the variable names with an underscore, or what we call camel casing. Camel has hump back. So that's why you use a capital letter at the beginning of each word. So name of variable. So we have name, of course, your variable name starts with small letter, then of capital letter, variable, capital letter. Do we get it?
Yes, I'm getting it.
Okay. So now to name our variable here, name of variable is 2, the name of variable is 3. And mind you, Python is case sensitive. So if you call name of variable and use capital letter here, and another place use small letter all through, they are two different things. So let's run this. So whenever we call name of variable with underscores, it gives us 2. Whenever we call name of variable with camel casing, it gives us 3. Then x equals to y equals 3. That's another variable name we're giving. So whenever we call x plus y now, what would it give us? Anybody? X plus y. Any takers?
5.
Yeah, it will give us 5. So moving on from there, then we have string quotes. What do I mean by string quotes? So basically, when we want to write string in Python, we have to quote it. That's the only way we can separate strings from numbers. You have to quote. So if you quote a number, it becomes a string. So we can use either single quotes or double quotes. But then there are some sentences or words that we can have that will have, what's it called now? Is it apostrophe we call it now? Something like this. Don't mind me, I'm not a grammarian, so I don't know the name they call it. I think it's apostrophe actually. So now, if we use single quotes around this one, let me just simply use single quotes so that we understand what I mean. Then single quotes. Use single quote around it. You can see the single quote started here, but to our surprise, it thought it's ending here because of this. Whereas we want it to end here. So how do we rectify something like this? We use double quotes. We use double quotes to rectify that. So if we have single quotes in between our double quotes, it won't affect it. And we have double quotes in between our single quotes, it will not affect our string. So we can move on from there. Are we getting it?
Yes.
Okay. Then there are other times that this one might not be able to help us. Probably we have single quote and double quotes in between our strings. So the best way to do that is to use an escape character. So an escape character is like this backslash. So if you use a backslash before anything in Python, it is as an escape character. So it won't see this as a function again. You know, this quote is acting as a function here to make this into a string. So you won't see it as a function again. This is as a string, as a normal letter or anything in Python. So you can see it reverted back to this. But whereas this is what we wrote actually. Are we getting it? Hello, are we getting it?
Yes.
So as I was saying, we can use single quotes to cover up double quotes. So that's what we have here. Olaya said we should submit our assignments tomorrow. I think there's going to be an assignment in this class, which you guys will have to submit against the next class. So I'll be expecting it on your GitHub repos. How many of us have GitHub accounts here? In case you don't have a GitHub account, please create a GitHub account against Friday, because that's where you'll be pushing your codes to. And the major reason why I said you should create a GitHub account is because after this class, I would like most of you guys, if not all of you, to get internships or jobs that will be paying you. And the only way to prove to your employer is to show them your previous works. And if you don't have a GitHub account that they can go and check, so whenever they ask for your portfolio, you just send them the link to your GitHub account. For example, my own GitHub is github.com/abbasolaya. So that's my GitHub account, and you see some of the works I've done. I've not really been active this year, so you can see how sparsely arranged the things I've pushed this year are. So in this year I've contributed only 62 times this year. But then those 62 times, I'm not always pushing every day, but then I push my codes in chunks. So you can see this one is faint and this one is lighter. So meaning I push more here than here. So this is what your employer will check, like how consistent does this person code? So they'll be like, oh, this person actually enjoys coding if he pushes every day or once in 2 days or twice a week. For example, this class, I'm giving you assignments in every class, meaning you'll be pushing your code to GitHub if you are doing the assignment at least twice a week. Get it? So you can go to github.com, then you create an account, then you start pushing your codes. For example, I'll send you the link to my own GitHub where I pushed this notebook so that you guys can download it after today's class. Please give me 30 seconds. I need to quickly do something. I'm back. So now going to print function. So printing is just majorly like we want to display something on our screen, but because we are in what's it called? We are in Jupyter Notebook, don't necessarily need print. But when we start working in other environment like a normal text editor like Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text or Atom or Vim or even Spider, we need to start printing. So here is how to do that. So this X prints hello, but then the normal thing to do is so say print X, which will give us hello. You can see print does not have this code around it. So X is a string, but print is printing the content of X. So it does not care about the type. So moving on from there, then we have number equals 12, name equals Sam. So we can convert number to string by just saying str, then we put the name of the number there. So then we have this. So it has converted it to, okay, it has not converted it yet because we did not say no, we did not put in place equals to. So we say num equal to this. Then you can see it's now string. But then if we don't put it equal to something, we just converted it, we didn't save it anyway. So it will still be an integer. So moving on from there. Then there's something we call string concatenation. String concatenation is basically where you add strings to strings. So here is a way we add strings together. So we have my number is, then I give you my number, and my name is, then I give you my name. So if I run this now, you can see the way I did it. We can add strings to numbers. So I converted the number to a string here, and I converted the name to a string to be on the safer side. So when I run this now, you can see my number is 12 and my name is Sam. Is there anyone that does not get what you did here? Anybody that does not get what you did here? Anybody? Okay, someone said I should come again. Okay, let me come again. So we said we spoke about string concatenation. And what do I mean by string concatenation? It means the process by which we join strings together. That is the process by which we add strings together. So here now, I said my number is, so if I actually remove this space here, or forget to put, okay, there's no space here actually. If I run this now, you can see the number is very close to this, but then if I add space here, it is not close to it. So I have my string here, this is one string. Okay, let me add a colon up here. And I could have said Abbas plus, sorry, I should quote it, Abbas, then plus Olaiya. If I run this, you can see Abbas, Olaiya, but I put space here. So this is where we add strings together. Abbas plus Olaiya, we have added two strings together. But then here, we have a number. And remember, to convert a number to a string, we have to put str, which is a function to convert to a string. So we now put whatever I want to convert into a string in that bracket. So we are converting number to a string here so that we'll be able to add it to this string, because we cannot add a number to a string. We can only add a string to a string. So my number is, then I put number here, and my name is, then I put my name here. So if I run this now, to give me this. Do you get it now? Abimbola, do you get it? Okay, she gets it now. Okay, moving on from there. Then we have string formatting. String formatting is more like string concatenation, but then you see the stress of having to add this string here, then this string here. We have to convert to string first. We have to close our quotes, then put addition and the likes like that. But then we could have used just string formatting. So string formatting helps us to add strings to our strings. I mean, put some strings in between our strings without having to split the string into multiple halves. So we have here my number is, then I have X in quotation, I mean in curly braces, and my name is Y in curly braces. Then we have format X equals number, Y equals name. So if I run this now, And see my number is 12. So you can see x equals number. So this place takes the value of x, which is number, and this is where we define our number. Then my name is Sam. And remember, we stated Sam to be the name here. And using string formatting has another advantage. We don't need to convert our numbers to a string before we can use it. Are we getting it? Then again, here we actually gave each of our variables name, x and y. But then we could have just neglected the names. But then we have to arrange this in an orderly fashion. So if we run this now, it will give us exactly the same thing. But if I mistakenly put name before number, you see, my number is Sam and my name is 12. You see, that does not make sense. So we have to be careful whenever we are doing that. So moving on from there, do we all get to this point? Is there anybody that does not get to that point? Is there anybody that does not get to this point? Anybody? Okay, I want to believe everybody gets to that point. So moving on from there now, we have lists. We have ladies on this call and we have guys on this call. How many of us have ever gone to the market before and we ended up buying things that we didn't plan on buying? So we could not afford things we were actually planned on getting in the market. That's where list comes handy. For example, I've done it on several occasions. I went to the market to get something of 14,000 naira. Then on getting the cashier spot to pay, then I saw something else that caught my attention. Then I told them to add it to it. Then what I added to what I was normally buying is 45,000 naira. So you can say I even bought more than I actually planned on buying. But then if I had carried a list along with me and told myself I'm sticking to this list, then I wouldn't have done something like that. So that's where list comes handy. So in Python, we have lists. And the only way to write lists in Python is by using square brackets. If you go to your keyboard now, you will see a bracket that is beside your P on your keyboard. That's your square bracket. So here we have 1, 2, 3. So we run this now. You can see we have 1, 2, 3 in our list. But our list can actually contain both numbers, strings, and any other data type. A list can contain a list. So here is another list. Here we have I1. Then we have another list of 1, 2 inside it. So here we are naming our list. The way we name our variables is the same way we name our list. So here is our list here. Then we can append, that is, we can add to our list. So you can add something to our list. For example, here we are adding this to our list. So if you call my list again, you can see this is already part of our list. That's appending, that is, we are adding to the end of our list. Then we can call our list by position. In Python, we start counting from 0. So this position 0, this position 1, this position 2, this position 3. So position 1 will give us what? A. Position 0 will give us A. Position 1 will give us B. Then we can call our list from a particular position to another position. For example, if I say position 1 to position 3 here, if I run this, you can see it's position B and C. Mind you, in Python, whenever we call positions, a particular position to another position, the last position is not called. So we call position 1 to 3. It will just give us position 1 and 2. But then we want to call it to the end of the list. We can say position 1 to the end by not putting anything here. So we have position 1 to the end, that's B to D, to the end of the list. You can see. Then we can have position 0 to whichever position. But mind you, Python will not take the last variable. So here we say position 0 to position 3. So Python will not give us what is in position 3. We just give us position 0, position 1, and position 2. So we run this now. We have A, B, C. Then we have my list 0. So we can change what's in our list. That's what we'll say our list is mutable. So we can change what we have in our list. So we are saying position 0 now, change it to new. So we call this, if we call my list again now, A has disappeared, then we have new. Are you getting it? Then we have nested list. So we can have a list within a list, then within a list again, we have another list. So here is a nested list. So if I call next 3, it will give me what is here. You can see that's position 0, position 1, position 2, then position 3. You can see this whole list is position 3. Then I can call position 2 on position 3 now. That's in position 3 now. This position 3. Then entering into this place, we have position 0, position 1, and then position 2. So this position 2 within position 3. So I call that here, that's what will give us. Then the address I want to print out is the target. So I'll call position 0 on position 2 on position 3. So that will give us position 0 here, which is target. So you can see that now. Or -1. So position -1 will give us 2. That we start counting from the end. We say -1. So we start counting from the end. So we could have just said -1 and -1. So I've given us 2, 2. Do we get it? Please, whoever does not get what I just did, please raise up their hand so that we can have them. Anyone that does not get to this point, raise up your hand, please. If you are lost in any way, please raise up your hand. I'm still waiting for us, so because I don't believe everybody got it to this point. Okay, let me ask a question. If I actually have one here, if I have one here, what would you give me? Sorry. If I have one here, what would you give me? I was muted. What everybody is saying 2 is correct. Then what if I run this? What would this give me? Sorry, I've been talking. I did not remember to mute my mic. Someone is saying 5, someone is saying 4. Okay, the person saying 5, you might be right. The person saying 4, you confuse yourself. Okay, you said 5, sorry, 5. Okay, I would have explained why you confused yourself, because Python starts counting from 0. That's why I said you must have confused yourself. So let's move on from there. So then if you check for our type now, our data type here, next. So we have list, because this is a list actually. Remember I told you when we started this part that it's list. Then we have dictionary. Dictionary is different from list in that, one, to state a dictionary, we have to use curly braces. So to write curly braces on your keyboard, you do shift, then that thing that you use to write square brackets, that's what you use to write these curly braces. Then in dictionary, it's a key value pair. What do I mean by key value pair? That is, unlike in lists that we use position to call them, in dictionary we use the keys to call them. So here we have a key 1 for item 1, key 2 for item 2, then Grace for Jennifer. So unlike in list that we use position to call them, now if I run this and I call D to give me the whole thing, then if I call Grace to give me Jennifer, if I call D, then I use, sorry, I wrote S. If I call D, then I use key 1, sorry, key 1. What would they give me, everybody? What would this give me? What would this give me? I'm waiting for us. To give me item 1, exactly, to give item 1, yeah. So let's move on. Then if we check for type D to give me dict, so that's the dictionary. Then we call, I've already called key 1 here, so let me just delete this. Let me delete this particular column. So that's X. So moving on from there, so let me just run this. Then we have booleans. What do I mean by booleans? Booleans are just true and false. So true or false, that is when the thing is true or when it is false. Boolean has just two variables in it. That's the positive and the negative. That's the true and the false. So here is true, here is false. Then we check for the type of true now. Tell you it is a bool, that's Boolean. Then we have tuple. That is another data type now, tuple. Tuple is like list, exactly like list. The only difference between tuple and list is that you use the normal bracket, which is shift 9 on your keyboard, to create a tuple, and then tuple is immutable, meaning what? You cannot add to a tuple and you cannot remove from a tuple. So we run this now. So if I add a distance below, sorry, below, what's going on? Below, below, okay. Then if I say T dot append 2, you can see it's giving me error. Tuple object has no attribute append. Then what if I say, okay, I want to change position 2, I want to change it to 5. If I run this, you can see tuple object does not support item assignment. That's what I mean by immutable. Immutable objects are objects in a programming language that you cannot change. So maybe you are creating a game now and you don't want anybody to be able to change whatever you've created there. Then you use a tuple because you can't change what is in a tuple. But then we are programmers now. Since a tuple can contain a list and I can change what's in a list, then by inference, I can a little bit manipulate what's in that tuple. So that's what I just did here. So you cannot actually change what's in a tuple, but then a tuple can contain a list. It can contain strings, so you can easily change what's in the tuple. I mean, in the list in the tuple now, you can't change the tuple, but you can change what's in the list of it in the tuple. So I have this, then I call B. So if I call position 4, that position 4 is actually a list. So if I check for the type of this now, type this, if I check for the type of position 4, to give me list. If I check for the type of B, to give me tuple. So let me just change this back to what I add here. If I run that, then I can change what's in position inside position 4 now. That position 1 inside 4, that's this 6. I can change it to units. So here it is. So you can see 4 units 9 2. Now I can change position. I can't change anything in the tuple. So you can see to give me error because tuple is immutable. Then we have set. Actually, can anybody define set on this code before I continue? Anybody, can you define a set? Anybody that can define a set? Anybody? I'm waiting for us. A set. Anybody? Wow. This person more way. Okay, she's doing statistics now. Of course, it is expected. Babalola, I respect you. It's like you crammed it. Because that was the definition they gave you in school too. A set is a collection of well-defined objects. But the thing they didn't give us in school is uniquely identified, well-defined objects. Because every element in a set must be unique. That's why we can have intersection and we can have elements that are not in the set and the likes. For example, 1, 2, 3 here is a set. So to create a set, we use curly braces like we used in dictionaries, but then we don't use key value pair. Remember in dictionary we use key value pair. Because we have key and we have value. But in set, we don't use key value pair. So, but then see this set here now. We have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4. If we had been running this in a list, this would have been a very long list. But a set, we just pick the unique items there and arrange them. And you can see it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was why I said a set is a collection of uniquely identified, well-defined objects. So moving on from there, comparison operators. Comparison operators. So, you know, when we're in primary school, we used to do less than, greater than, less than or equal to, all those things. So we have comparison operators too in Python. So is 1 greater than 2? That's where this is where our booleans actually come in. 1 greater than 2. So 1 greater than 2 is false. 1 less than 2 is true. 1 greater than or equal to 1 is true. 1 less than or equal to 4 is true. Then, you know, we have the assignment operator, which is the normal equal to. Then the comparison operator is equal, double equal to this, double equal to here. So we run this as true. Then is I equals by? No, that's false. Do we all get to this point? Any questions so far? Any questions so far, please? Any questions so far? Anybody with any question? Anybody with any question? Anybody with any question? Please, any question? No, if you don't understand anything we've done so far, raise up your hand now. Before I continue, this is like the half of the class. Any question? Any question? Our deal. Nobody's asking any question now. Okay, let me ask question then. If we have, okay, sorry. P, if we have 2 plus 3 less than 4, let me use 8 minus 5. Sorry, 8 minus 5. What would this give us? What would that give us? False. Then that person. Any other person? False, false, false. Okay, since everybody's saying false, so it will be false actually. So now, logic. Now, I remember the person that taught me this thing in school. Oh, that person can dance in class. Okay, logic. So in Python, there is actually logic. We use logic all the time because we need to chain things together to get a logical reasoning out of them. So here is a table of logical operators that we have in Python. So true, there is or, there is or logical operator, and there is and logical operator. So if we have true or true, it will give us true. True or false will give us true. False or true will give us true. False or false will give us true. So the easiest way to remember is this is whenever you have a true in an OR operator, it is always true. The only time it is false is when everything is false. Then when you have an AND operator, we have true and true is true, true and false is false, false and true is false, false and false is true. I mean, it's false, sorry. I was doing minus times minus in primary school. Sorry. So the only time a AND operator is true is when everything is true. Once there is one false, and everything is false. Are we getting it? So using that understanding now, what would this give us? 1 greater than 2 and 2 less than 3. Anybody? Any takers? What would this give us? I'm waiting for us. Nobody's saying anything now. Okay, one person is saying false. Any contrary opinion? Any contrary opinion? Okay, in the absence of no other opinion, I will run this. But then what would this give us? What would this one give us? This one here. So it will give us true. Yeah, it will give us true. What about this last one? I think was it. Okay, moving on from there. Then we have conditional statements. We have conditional statements. Conditional statement is just if statement, else if statement, and the likes like that. So conditional statement is just when you are trying to check if a condition is met. So that's when you use. That's when we use conditional statement. So here we are checking if 1 is less than 2, then print yep. So we run this to give us print yep. But then if 1 is greater than 2, okay? Sorry, if 1 is greater than 2, what do you give us? It won't give us anything. When 1 is less than 2, it gives us something. But when it's greater than 2, it's not giving us anything. But then it will look somehow when, let's say you build a game. Sorry. Let's say you build a game. Then the person finish his or her lives. Then your game just hang like that. It's not going forward, it's not going backward. It will look weird. For example, if 3 less than 2, print yet. So will not print anything. So, and the thing is, our users want to see something. Even when they are wrong, they want to see something. So that's where the else statement comes in. So else, if 1 less than 2, print first. Else, print last. So we run this now to print first. But then, if we now say if 1 greater than 2, print first. Else, to print last. Then here is printing last because we put the else operator. But then I need to explain something before we go on from here. We have something we call indentation here. Indentation is like the entrance to a place. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. So if you how do I put it now? If you write a code here, then whatever you indent underneath it here, all those things must run before it can exit this place. Once it enters through this place, everything indented. This indentation here is actually 4 spaces. So everything here must be run. Everything underneath this thing must be run before coming out. So here is an indentation. So here, once it enters through this place, that is when this one is correct, when this one is true, it enters here. then does it, then come out again for this else, then enters here again. Are we getting it? Then if once this one is true and it enters here, it does not need to enter this place again. Something like once you've entered a house, you can't enter the next house again, except you don't preference, obviously. So once you enter this place, you can't enter this place again. So once you enter this indentation, you have to finish whatever you are doing here, then you exit the whole of this code again. So here now we have indentation here. So when this one is not true now, that's when it now enters this place. So it could not enter this door. So you have to go and check the next door. That was happening here. Then same thing here now. So if you run this, what would this give us? We have if statement that's if 1 equals 2, print first. Else, if this one is else, if that's like if. So it's like else if. So else if 3 is equal to 3, print middle, then else print last. That is when this one is not met, when this one is not true, check this one. Then when this one is not true, just do this one. So do we get it? So let me just quickly give us a classwork here. Let me give us a classwork here. So so let's have this code that we have here, but then let's check the condition here. When 3, when x, it seems we define x at that time. When x less than 5, let me define x before moving on. Let me say x equals 7. When x less than 5, print. Okay, let's use 19. Then let's use y equals 13. So when x less than, no, let's just use 19 alone for now. When x less than 19, when x greater than 19, say adults. When x less than 19, say teenager, sorry. When x greater than, when x greater than 12, say teenager. Then when x else, say child. So what would this give us here now? Anybody? What would this give us? Teenager. Okay, any other takers? Teenager. Okay, since everybody is agreeing on teenager, so actually to give us teenager. What if I change this age to 20? What would it give us? Okay, Blessing CEK said she's just joining. Please just go and join on YouTube. So you won't go us back. You just follow from the beginning. Then you see exactly what you need to do to get to this point. Just go and watch on YouTube straight from there. So everybody's saying adults. So what if the age is 12? What would it give us? Okay, everybody's saying child now. Okay, everybody saying child. So it will actually give us child. So we all get conditional statements. So let's move on to loops. So we have the for loop and we have the while loop. So for loop. So for loop is just to, how do I put it now? How many of us understand what we mean by loop? Loop is like, let me just Google it so that I won't define nonsense for you. But I know loop is like when you keep on doing something until something is achieved. So let's check for loops in Python. Let's just check loops in Python. And let's see the explanation they give. Okay, they just give us the two types of loops that we have. Let's just say loops in programming before we go to Python in programming. Loop is not in a circle without an end, though. There's actually an end to every loop. So a loop is a sequence of instruction that is continually repeated until a certain condition is met. Let's copy this and come and paste in our code here. Oh, sorry, that's not the one we are using. Just drag. That's what I'm running away from. So I run this now. You can see a loop is a sequence of instructions that is continually repeated until a certain condition is met. Okay. So moving on from there, so we created a list here, we call it sequence. Then we said for book in sequence, print book raised power 2. So this book could have been any alphabet. We could have used X, we could have used Y, but I used book here. So this thing will loop through this is our book here and perform this operation on it. So the first one say book in sequence. So the first time it will take position 0, which is 1. Then book raised power 2 is 1. Then go again 2. 2 raised power 2 is 4. Then go again 3. 3 raised power 2 is 9. Then go again 4. Then go again 5. Do we get it? So that's what is happening there. Then we have sequence 10. So we call range. Range. Range is actually a function in Python that generates numbers between a number and another number. So if I here, you can see what's actually generating for us until I put it in a list. So if I say list range this, if I run this now, you can see. Remember in Python, I told you whenever you call a range of things, it will not pick the last one. So it's not picking 10 here now. So it started from 0. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't pick the last one. So here too we have list, open brackets, then close brackets. If we run this, sorry. If I run this to give us from 2 to the number just before 10. Then here is another one. Here is a range. Normally, a range has a common difference of 1. But then if you add a third parameter to it, it means you are saying the common difference should be that third parameter. So here 2 is the third parameter. So our common difference will be 2. So list, open bracket, then close bracket. We run this now. You can see 2, 4, 6, 8. So now let me please give us a class work. So we have list, open bracket, range, open bracket, 1, 20, 3. What would this give us? I'm waiting. Oh. Okay, someone said 3, 9, 11, 13, 15, 19. This person is wrong. Janet, you are wrong. 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. Ọlọ́run Yomi, you are right. So let's just run that. So you can see 1, 4, 7. Janet, the reason why you are wrong is we check your common difference. Your common difference is not commonly 3. There are some places that it's 4. There are some places that it's just scattered around. So please confirm your answer and let's go on. So moving on from there now. So we have for item in range 2, 10, 2. Print item. So what would this print for us? What would this print for us? Anybody? Oh yeah, now. Anyway, any takers? This one, what would it give us? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Hello. Check the question well before you respond, though. This person this person is right. The first person is wrong. This person is right. It will start from 2, end at 10. But then it won't pick 10. It will pick the number just before 10. So that's the answer. So moving on from there. Then for jelly in sequence, print jelly plus jelly. So this is our sequence here, remember? So what would this give us? Having it in mind that this is our sequence. 1 to 5 is our sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what would this give us? Oh yeah, now. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, someone is saying this. Any contrary answer? Any contrary answer? Any contrary answers? Any contrary answers? So okay, in the absence of no contrary answer, we'll run it. Then we have that. There is another one. 1 times 1. I times I, sorry. Then here is another 1 times 3. And that's that for loop. So that's for loop for you now. So let's move down to while loop. What we said until a condition is met, that's loop. So let's go back to Google again. Then let's go to our first thing. So while loop repeats a statement or a group of statements while a given condition is true, it tests the condition before exiting the loop. Then for loop execute a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates the code that manages the loop. So let's copy while loop and paste where we have while loop. So whenever you are checking out this code, you can easily see the explanation I give for while loop there. So we have that for while loop. Then let me copy that for loop too. So we have a normal loop. So let's copy this out of there. Then we bring it down. Then we copy another one for loop. Then we'll bring it here. So we run all this. For loop execute a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviate the code that manages the loop variable. So this one we run it multiple times. But while loop does what? It repeats the statement or a group of statements while a given condition is true. Then when it becomes false, what does it do? It stops running. Are we getting it? So moving on from there now. So here we said I equals 1. While I less than 10, that is less than or equal to 10, print I is, then we'll print the number I is at that point. Then we increase I. So we run this now. You can see I is 1, I is 2, I is 3. It keeps running until when it gets to 10, it said less than or equal to 10. So it still runs for 10. Then when it's above 10, it cannot run again. It stops. But then if we mistakenly forget to put this condition here, mistakenly forget to put that, this way, that's when we say we run into an infinite loop, meaning there is no condition for our loop to stop. It keeps running, it keeps running, it keeps running. For example, if I run this now, you can see it keeps saying it's 1 and it keeps running. It cannot stop. It cannot stop till Jesus comes. To keep running like that. But then I can easily just come here and stop it, because if I don't stop it on the long run, it will crash my system. So I have to stop it. So I've stopped it here. We go to the base now. We tell you keyboard interruption. Imagine how many things it has printed. Not be doing so. But then if I come back to my distance here, so that you guys will not come and go and run what is not, I'll add it back. Then we have 1 to 10. Do we get that? I hope we all get it. Then we have I equals 1. While I less than 5, print I is, then we have this, then we have I plus this, then we run that. We have I equals 1. But remember, we didn't put equal to here, so it will not pick 5. We stop at 4. Then the range, I've already explained the range. So I've already explained the range. Then list comprehension. List comprehension is something like you are bringing, what's it called now? You are bringing a for loop and a list operation together into one. So for example, here we have an empty list, and we said for items in X, so this is our X here. So for item in X, out.append item raised to power 2. So what should it print out here? Normally it should print out that's 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square. That's 1 for 9, 16. That's 1 for 9, 16. But then instead of using this number of lines of code, that's like 4 lines of code. So please excuse me for 10So I'm back. So as I was saying, instead of having these 4 lines of code, we could have just abbreviated everything into this 1 line of code. So item squared for item in X. Item squared for item in X. This is what we call list comprehension. So now what if we want it to do for item in Y? I mean, for item in sequence. Remember our sequence is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if we want to do it for item in this? I want to raise it to power of 4. How do we write that? Write your code in the chat session. Let me see everybody's code now. Everybody must write their code. Everybody on this call, please write your code in the chat session. 1, how would you write your code for raising sequence to the power of 4? How would you write your code? I'm waiting for also. I'm waiting for also.
So what number are we raising to the power of 4?
Sequence, we are raising sequence to the power of 4. I'm waiting. Oh. Waiting. Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, I'll talk about this person's way of doing things. I'll correct something, then we'll continue from there. So we have this. But then, why should you use sequence where you are using sequence before? So you could have used X or Y or anything. You can use X or Y so that you won't just confuse yourself. But you're actually correct. Wait to. Yeah. For X in sequence. Okay, I've not run sequence here. B. What exactly is the problem? I guess probably because I copied it from there. Let me change back this one to this. What exactly is going on right now? Sequence raised to power 2. Let me write it myself. So sequence raised to power 4 for x in sequence. Give me the same problem. Oh, sorry, x to power 4. Sorry, it's my mistake. Sorry. I said this power 4. Someone is doing this power 12. To your law, but you are correct, actually. You are correct. Out equals this. So you could have done it like that. Yeah, out equals this. So I will run your code too. So I'll come back here, then paste your code in here, then out. So you are correct. It's just you are doing what we now ask you to do. So moving on from there, let's go to functions. If you ask any Python developer that someone taught you Python programming in less than 2 hours, they will tell you it's a lie. But actually, once you've gotten to to function now, the only thing we need to do again is what's it called now? Lambda expressions. Then the only thing that I will not talk about in this class is object-oriented programming, because that will take us a while to do, but it's something you can always study yourself. But everything you need to know in Python programming to be a data scientist is what I'm teaching in this class now. So as soon as you are done with this class now, you can boldly beat your chest and say, I'm a Python programmer. But then you need to practice. Practice. So moving on from there. So to create a function in Python, you define the function with def, then you give the function a name. Then if the function has parameters, you set the parameter. Then you can set a default value for the parameters, or you can choose not to set a default value. So here, for example, I'm setting a default value of default for param1. So I'm printing param1. So if I call my function, it actually shows me the location of the function. But then, to actually have the function have effect, I have to put open bracket and close bracket at the end of the function. So if I call this now, it's giving me default. But then, if I now call my function, I give it new param, that is, param1 is now equals to new param. If I run this, to give me new param, because it's taking the value of default now, because it will replace the default value for us. So here, if I say 3, it automatically gives me 3. So, but then, here's another different another function now. We are saying square. So square of x. So if you say define square of x, so that's square x. So we have here we say return x raised to power 2. So wherever we call square, so we say out equals square. We print out, it will just give you the location of the function. Then we say square 3. That is 3 is now taking the value of x. So you say square 3 will give you 9. But then you can't just call square alone here. You can't just say square alone, because you didn't give it a default value. So if you say square alone and just open bracket and close bracket there, to give you error. Missing required argument x. So you have to give it a value. So you put 4 in there to give you something. But if you don't put anything, because you didn't define a default value, to not give you anything. Then we have a function here to find even numbers. So we have x, y, that is find the even numbers between x and y. So for I in range x, y, if I modulo 2 equals 0, print that's I, print I is an even number, else print I is not an even number. So we run this now. Then if we call, then I didn't mention something about Python. This is what we call input statement. This is when you want to collect a value from your user. So you want to collect what they have to say about that value. So you have input. So enter your first number, then enter your second number. So this input actually helps you to collect number from your user. But then whatever number they enter, it will be converted to string automatically. But then you can use integer to convert number from string to integer. So we are converting whatever they give you here into an integer here. So same thing here. So we run this now. You can see it's asking me for my first number. If I give it 2, then if I go to my second number, if I give it 9, then if I enter now, it's now giving me even numbers between 2 and 9. So you can see 2 is an even number, 3 is not an even number, 4 is an even number, 5 is not an even number, 6 is an even number, 7 is not an even number, 8 is an even number. So moving on from there, we have lambda expressions. So define times 2. So VAR, return VAR times 2. So if I run this, so times 2 now, this one will give me 3 times 2. Then instead of having to write a function like this, we could have, if we are going to use our function just once, we are not using it multiple times, we could have just written a lambda expression that is lambda VAR times 2. So if I run this now, just give me the location of that lambda expression. Then if I say sequence, and I say, okay, save whatever you have here, map them to a tuple. Then I say lambda var times 2 for sequence. So if I run this now, so you just multiply each of the item of the sequence times 2. Remember our sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can map it into a list too. But then if we just run it alone, it will not give us anything. It will just show us the sequence and location of the lambda expression, since we are not mapping it to anything. So that's that. Then I talk about mapping and filter here. We actually use mapping here. Mapping helps us to map from a function or a lambda expression to a list or a tuple or a set. So moving on from there, we have our sequence here, sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have map times 2 to sequence, times 2 of sequence. That is, we are mapping what we have in sequence. Then we are applying function times 2 on it. If we run this, just give us the location, but then if we map it to a list, then give us the list, that is sequence times 2. Then here we can map lambda expression times 2. So we've done that already there. Then we can filter. Filter is when you are getting true or false. So you now filter those ones that are true. You filter out the numbers. So we run this now. You can see filter is showing us the location. Then we put it into a list. It's actually showing us that, okay, it filtered out only the odd numbers here. So you can see that from there. Then methods. So here is our string. We are applying some methods on our string, so we can convert everything to lower. You can see this one, Sam is actually uppercase here. S is actually uppercase. So if we change everything to lower, so everything will become lower. Then we can change everything to upper. Then we can split. If we split here, we are splitting on space because that's the default value for split. So we are splitting on space. But then if we have a tweet like this, go hashtag sports, then if we split on hash, then to give us the splitting on hash. So if we split it here, normally you split on space, but here splitting on hash. So give us go sports, then sports, which is the hashtag there. So if you are going to do NLP on the long run, that's natural language processing, and you're going to be doing Twitter mining, then this is going to come in very handy for you. Then if I want to just call the hashtag alone, then I can just split it, then I call the hashtag, which is sports. So that's the position 1 in whatever I print out here. So then we have our D, which is our dictionary. Then we can call our keys. Those are our keys. Then we have our values. These are our values. This one, and this one. So our values. Then we call our item. That's a tuple of key and value, key and value, key and value. So we call that now. You can see that there. Then we have list 1, 2, 3. Then we can pop a list. That is, we can remove the last item of a list. So we pop it as we pop 3. Then the list remains 1 and 2. Then we have X in this. So we are checking if X is in this list. That's false. But if X is in this one, that's true. So that's that about everything we want to do today. So any questions so far? Anything you want to suggest? Maybe I'm too fast, I'm too slow. I can pace down a bit. I can increase my pace and the likes like that. Any submission or questions? Let me have you guys now. Let us have you. Anybody? Suggestions, questions, submissions, additions, subtractions. I'm waiting for also. I'm waiting for us all. Asking questions and not getting any response is always tiring, I beg. Okay, someone said.
So they're making the chat box.
Someone said, "You are too fast." Please go watch on YouTube. I think I'm a bit pissed. But if your submission after watching on YouTube is I'm too fast, then I can pace down. Just trying to cover up, then be able to have you guys ask questions was why I was a bit fast. But then check the YouTube and see what will happen. Someone said I could slow down a bit next time. Okay, I will do that. But I hope you guys got everything I discussed today. That's the major thing. Someone said I really simplified Python. Thank you very much. So this thing is the material is good, meaning I made it as simple as possible. I'm a bit fast, so I should slow down a bit. Then that's all I've gotten from our submission so far. Ask questions now because I'm going to give you guys assignment too. If I let me open the assignment file for you guys so that you guys can see. So exercise. Someone said good job. Thank you very much. It's going to be assignment. So this is an assignment here. So these are questions you have to answer. Here's another one. You can see the assignments. So you answer them one after the other. Then you push to your, oh Jesus, I've solved that. I'll remove the solution so you guys can solve it yourself. No, I will send the link to the WhatsApp page, please. I've not pushed it to GitHub yet. I'll push to GitHub as soon as I'm done now. Then send the link to the GitHub page. So the next class, please arrive early because we'll quickly do the solution to the assignment. I would have checked, okay, when you do your own assignment too, submit before Friday morning. For example, you can still submit before 5 a.m. on Friday. So I'll be able to check some, because I can't check everybody's. But I'll check some so that we'll come back to class. And I'm not on the WhatsApp, so I don't have access to the WhatsApp group. Wow. Then how did you get here? Okay, can someone please just copy the link to the WhatsApp group and paste here for this person to join the WhatsApp page. So I'll paste the link to the material on the WhatsApp page so that we can all you get it by God's grace. Ayomide son, you get it by God's grace. I get you are not on the WhatsApp. Someone will paste the link to the WhatsApp. Okay, GitHub is just a, how do I put it now? GitHub is a repository where we push our code. So you can have your own account on GitHub, the way you have your account on Facebook. Then you can push your code there. Then whenever maybe an employer asks you like, what's your portfolio like, what you've done so far. For example, if you're a graphic designer, you can use Instagram, you can use Behance, you can use other this place where you post your graphics. So as a developer, you push your code to GitHub. So you can just Google, you can check on this thing. Okay, probably next class, I'll teach us how to use GitHub a little bit further. But then you can easily push your code to GitHub. So whenever anybody needs access to your code, if you make the code public, they'll be able to have access. Anybody will be able to have access to it. But then if you make it private, it's only people that you give the link to the GitHub page that will have access to it. So GitHub is more like a portfolio site. Not your CV now, but then it shows people what you can do. So you just push your codes there for other people to see. So can we have, don't let me pronounce this name. Person is raising up your hand. Please, can we have you? The person raising hand, can we have you?
Yes, sir. Okay, so I said I'm not on WhatsApp as per WhatsApp Messenger itself.
Okay, you are not on WhatsApp at all.
Yes, I'm having issue with it, so I haven't been able to fix it. I'm not on WhatsApp right now.
Wow. So
I got the link from the email. I've been getting links from the email. Okay,
I'll post the link under the YouTube page then, under the YouTube video for this class. So check check in the night. Probably check tomorrow morning. I'll have posted the link to under the distance so that I can have access to it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma. So any other question? Okay, no questions so far. So I posted on the WhatsApp page the other time about we needing money for this class. Of course, I've been squeezing out money from my own account and I've seen some voluntary donations. But then the money that I have right now is not enough because, for example, I need to buy 20K data against next class, which I don't have. It's not like I don't have the money for it, but then your donations here and there will go a long way to help to further push me from spending my own personal money, because I'm spending my time already. So I won't have to spend too much for my own money. Of course, whatever you give will be used towards the class. And if there's excess, I'm actually planning another class for August, September. That one is basically for teenagers. If we see any adult there, we are going to chase them away. That one is going to be majorly for teenagers. So to teach teenagers some basics of programming and some basics of UI UX, that's graphic designing for mobile apps and desktop apps like that. So that's the other class I'm planning, so that I won't spend too much now. Then when it gets to that one, I won't have enough to spend again. That's why I'm asking for everybody's assistance. I beg, check WhatsApp page. You see my account number there. So you can just send any amount that you can have. But the class is totally free, as I stated in earlier. So if you don't have anything, you can always just attend the class. Thank you very much, everybody. I think the WhatsApp link is already posted by 2 people already. So please, you can always join the WhatsApp page and take action on whatever we are posting on the WhatsApp pages. So thank you very much, everybody. I will see you in the next class. Or is there any other suggestion or submission again before we close today's meeting? Because we still have like 9 minutes. Any other submission? Okay, in the absence of no other submission, I'll see you guys in the next class. And please, I'll make the graphics for the teenagers class available. So it's just targeted for people between age 13 and 19. Please, I'll post the link for it. For people in Ibadan, I've already gotten a location. Of course, if I can raise enough money for the class, then we'll have a physical class for people in Ibadan to join physically. Then we have tutors. Already, I have a volunteer. But then if you want to volunteer to tutor any part of the class, you can always DM me, like directly message me on WhatsApp, so we can talk on how you can be a volunteer, either to be a tutor, to be a guardian and the likes. If you are going to eventually hold the physical class, or even if it's going to be totally online, anybody from any location can register. But then the one that will be physical will be for people in Ibadan. I'm planning on using Goshen Event Center. That's around Songo, Mokola Road. So that's that on that. How are you going to get the assignment? I already said it. You are going to get the assignment via the link I'll post on the YouTube page, and I will send the link to the YouTube page to our WhatsApp page, so everybody can just go to GitHub and download the notebook for the assignment. Then you can easily solve it with your Jupyter notebook. So is there any other question again? I believe I've answered every question that was asked. In the absence of no other question, I think it's a good point to end this class, and I'll be seeing you guys in our next class on Friday. Thank you very much for attending today's class, and God bless you.